Hey guys, this is Jeremy with Talking Umbrella Travel, here to talk all things D23 with one of my good friends, Andrew Herbert. Andrew, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, Jeremy?
Welcome back. I'm doing great. Any day to talk Disney with you is a great day. Uh,
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
the last time you and I were together, we were talking about all of the announcements at D23. As you guys know from the last video, Andrew had the opportunity to go out to D23 and to be there for all of these announcements. And Andrew and I talk parks and send each other YouTube clips of park stuff, probably way more than we're supposed to. But it makes my day go by faster. It makes me smile. So hopefully it does for Andrew as well. Uh,
Absolutely.
so the last time we were together, we were talking about Disneyland and California Adventure and those announcements. We talked about the Magic Kingdom, went into detail, talking about all of the things coming to the Magic Kingdom, especially that new Cars expansion for Frontierland, losing Tom Sawyer Island and the paddle wheeler. And we also talked about the big announcement of what actually exists back there beyond Big Thunder Mountain, and that is the Villains Land that's going to be coming with two major attractions, dining and shopping. Really, really awesome expansions. What kind of got left off the expansion list is Epcot. As you know, Epcot went through a reimagining itself, and really Disney only mentioned two things that are coming to Epcot. One of those is a reimagining of Test Track, which is going to be opening in 2025. And I'll be honest with you, Andrew, I'm more excited about that than I thought I was going to be, because I've just never been a huge Test Track fan. I feel like this is my opinion, it's
Sure.
always felt clunky to me, like they didn't know what to do with it. For a while there, you would each do your car, you would design your car. Then for a while there, two people design a car, and then sometimes you don't design a car at all. Like it felt like the story just kind of got lost. And essentially, the highlight was you were going to go 65 miles an hour. So this reimagining, this nod to the original design, and when they say original design, Andrew, what do they mean by that?
They're talking about the original World of Motion attraction, which, to be honest, I don't remember too much whether or not I rode that as a young Disney fan. I will say I was within one of the first groups of guests to ride Test Track when it first opened in 1999, and we broke down as we were going, starting our 0 to 60. Yeah, exactly. We just slammed on the brakes. So, you know,
Yikes.
but I still like the attraction.
So for those of you who don't know what World of Motion is, it was just essentially, it was a ride through the different transportation of the ages. If you get a chance, there are some great YouTube videos out there that you can go back and look at that show you literally the entire ride. It has the same, to me, the same kind of feel as Horizons. I don't remember World of Motion, but I very fondly remember Horizons, and I loved it.
I remember Horizons.
Yeah, that just something about it. I mean, the theme song, all of it. But the fact that they're going to go back and give some nods to that World of Motion, I like when Disney does that. I love that Disney has new ideas. But I also love that they don't forget on this ground was, and whatever it was. Just like, as much as I don't necessarily want to ride the Winnie the Pooh ride, I'm going to ride the Winnie the Pooh ride just so I can see Mr. Toad handing that deed to Owl, because I remember Mr. Toad's Wild Ride being right there, which is still at Disneyland, by the way. Did you get a chance to ride it while you were there?
I did not. I was a little busy that day.
You were busy. What happened that day?
I had to, plan out an engagement for myself and my now fiance. So I had to sacrifice not riding Mr. Toad or Roger Rabbit cartoon spin.
I'm not. Did you make the right choice there? Answer carefully. Answer carefully. You made
Of
the right
course I
choice.
did.
You definitely made the right choice. Your fiance is amazing, I have to say. So the other announcement that I just wanted to be excited about, but I'm not, is this new Spaceship Earth inspired lounge. It's going to open in 2025. It's going to open in what was originally the sponsors lounge. There's a lounge at Spaceship Earth. It kind of looks off towards the the lagoon around the World Showcase. It hasn't been open to the public for years. AT&T used it for a while. Siemens used it for a while. When we talked, you seemed a little bit more excited about it than I was. Tell me, what am I missing there?
Honestly, from the concept art, I don't think you're missing much. I do like when Disney opens. I feel like everything in Disney should be open to everyone. That's just my opinion. And
Yeah.
so I don't like the corporate lounges, the DVC lounges everywhere. I understand you need some. Y'all are DVC members are the biggest Disney fans, so you do deserve some love. But I really like that they're opening up a part of the park, and you'll be elevated. So we'll have some good views of the nighttime spectaculars. But the concept art looked like a hotel lounge, to be honest.
Very, very, very generic. I get that there has to be a certain look to things nowadays, but everything doesn't have to be sleek and stylish. It just
No.
doesn't.
It looked like the Hilton.
I do agree. Let's open up all the areas. I for one am ready to go ahead and stand by the Club 33 door until they go ahead and make that available to everybody. I'll be the first guest in. If they should give anybody anything extra, it should be annual pass holders. Just because I am one and I want all the extra stuff. I did get a chance to go to the Disney World Annual Pass Lounge over there in Epcot in the Morocco Pavilion. Quick little side story. They only let you come in. So like me and my son were there, and they wouldn't let him come in. My son thought, well, Dad's going to say, oh, you know what? We won't go in. Thank you. I said, Austin, I'll be right back. And so I went in the lounge without my kid, and I made him stay out in the heat while I went in for a minute. And I felt like a terrible father. So I needed to say that out loud just to cleanse my spirit and tell people that. All right, so let's move away from my terrible story and let's move over to Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom is going to get, in my opinion, some much needed love. A lot of Animal Kingdom to me is fantastic. I'm not exactly how they got it 5 miles closer to the face of the sun than every other theme park at Disney World, but they are going to finally get it some love. And no, it's not air conditioning. They are going to take that area that's Dino Land USA, and they are turning it into the Tropical Americas. 2 new rides and a retheming of the existing ride in that Dinosaur or Dino Land USA. Dinosaur is not going away. Dinosaur is getting a retheming. So we're going to get a replacing of Dinosaur with a new ride based on, who is that, Andrew?
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones. It's going to be about exploring a Mayan temple in the search of a mythical creature. Now, Andrew, tell our folks, why does replacing Dinosaur with Indiana Jones make so much sense in that situation?
From an animal standpoint, we'll have to wait. Right. From a conservation standpoint, we would have to see what Joe Rohde says about that. But from like a logistical standpoint, it is the exact same. Dinosaur is the exact same track layout as the Indiana Jones Adventure in Disneyland. So they are taking, it's an all new story, but they are, I'm sure, taking a lot of the elements that are beloved at the Indiana Jones attraction in Disneyland and bringing it over to Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, you're going to get, so essentially, folks, what he's saying is Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Forbidden Eye at Disneyland. If you've ridden that, you've essentially rode it without dinosaurs. And if you've rode Dinosaur, you've essentially rode the Indiana Jones ride without the Forbidden Eye. I think it'd be kind of cool if they replace Dinosaur with an Indiana Jones ride where he's exploring a Mayan temple and he's looking for a dinosaur, but that's not going to happen. But Mr. Dr. Secret could make that happen. You never know, and maybe Claire Huxtable could too.
That could be it, and they want to keep that a secret. But
right.
Given the location and it being the tropical Americas,
right?
Maybe not.
I'm interested to see what the mythical creature is. I think that's going to be very, very cool. I love Indiana Jones and the Forbidden Eye. I'm not that big a fan of Dinosaur. It's too much jump scare for me. And there's not a, it's so dark. There's just not a lot to see. And by the time you see something, it's in your face.
Really, the plot does not make much
No,
sense. You have a time rover and you go right before the asteroid strikes.
right. And also, Dr. Seeker has already been there, and he put a
Sure.
look. Could he not have gotten the dinosaur?
Right.
Or maybe there just wasn't enough mustard, ketchup, and mayo in those pipes to
To
make that happen.
power it up. Exactly.
In case you're wondering what we're talking about, if you're getting onto dinosaur and you look, there are red, white, and yellow pipes, and they have, is it like a scientific what is it?
Yeah, the ingredient, scientific ingredients for
Or mustard, mayo,
mustard
and ketchup. And Andrew, why do we have mustard, mayo, and ketchup pipes in dinosaur?
because when Dinosaur opened, when Animal Kingdom opened, it was originally called Countdown to Extinction, and it was sponsored by McDonald's.
Which is, a perfect partner for Countdown to Extinction. If you eat enough dollar menu cheeseburgers, there's a countdown.
You go back.
Right. So anyway, in those tropical Americas, not only are we going to get an Indiana Jones attraction, but we are also going to get an attraction from a movie that I have really, really grown to love. Encanto is going to come to life through a new ride-through attraction, which takes us through the magical casita and into Antonio's rainforest. I like this. I think it fits in perfectly with what Animal Kingdom is. You're going to have an opportunity to share the story of conservation. You're going to have the opportunity to share the story of family. And I like this. What are your thoughts on this attraction?
It'll be interesting to see. I like Encanto. It, it is a little bit of a stretch to get into Animal Kingdom, but not as much as Indiana Jones with Antonio. What I think will be interesting is, at least given the what we've been told about the ride so far, is that you're going on a tour of the casita leading up to the day that Antonio gets his gift. So you're going into his room right after it turns into the rainforest. So there's no conflict, and a lot of unless you are telling the story of a specific attraction, or excuse me, unless the attraction is telling a specific story of a film, there's usually some sort of conflict, and this one isn't going to have conflict, it sounds like.
That, and I will tell you, a lot of rides, when you don't have that, you miss that. A lot of people are saying not to go back and talk about things already, but they're saying that one of the issues with Tiana, with the Tiana ride, is there's no conflict. You're just celebrating Tiana.
I 100% agree. That was my big takeaway when I rode Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Yeah, not to go back to Tiana, sure. But, and again, we all know I'm a Dr. Facilier fan. Put Dr. Facilier right there at the drop where the vultures were, and you get conflict. But hey, I didn't make the ride. So also coming to this land is a brand new carousel. The carousel is going to have carved wood style animals from Disney stories. It's also going to have one of the largest quick service restaurants in Walt Disney World. This new land is going to be completed by 2027. That seems kind of ambitious to me. That's a lot of stuff going on for 3 years or 2.5 years.
Given how long there was a pit in the middle of Epcot and how long Tron took, that is very ambitious. But I do think that Disney is hearing their guests, and they realize that they might need to step it up a bit when they're announcing something to when it's completed. And you do have Epic Universe opening in less than a year.
It is rapidly coming, isn't it? So the last thing that was announced for Animal Kingdom is that the bugs are going away. It's tough to be a bug that has been in the Tree of Life theater since the opening. Is that correct?
Yes, that's an opening day attraction. So you're losing 2 opening day attractions.
Since the opening, you're going to get Zootopia, Better Together, and it's coming soon. We're talking winter 2025. It's going to be the newest show inside the Tree of Life. I like Zootopia. I like the Animal Kingdom fit. I just don't like the song that everybody sings from Zootopia, and I cannot think of for the life of me what it's
Try
called.
everything.
I, it's just okay. It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
It's in the Country Bears now.
I know, I know. When I was when you and I worked at the Disney store, I just remember people would choose that in the theater a lot, or it would come on the loop a lot, and I don't like it more than I don't like Let It Go, and I just got burned out from Let It Go. I got burned out.
Wow.
But I like Let It Go. I do compared to I just don't like Try Everything. I want to.
Hmm.
Anyway, that's my personal stuff. Tell me what you think about this idea.
I don't want to make assumptions, but you do feel like as you're walking into the Tree of Life that you are being shrunk down to the size of a bug. You're surrounded by these giant roots, and it just them coming into a tree makes less the Zootopia characters coming into a tree makes less sense than It's Tough to Be a Bug.
Yeah, yeah.
Apparently there's a Clawhauser animatronic that will kind of be where Hopper currently is. So I don't know how they're going to make that connection between the scales.
Right. Um, there is a Zootopia land at what park? I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm trying to
Hong
remember.
Kong.
Is it open yet?
Yes.
That to me would have made more sense. I'm not saying to transplant it here to, and I don't even mean an Animal Kingdom. I just
Sure.
mean I feel like that would have translated better a Zootopia area in a theme park as opposed to a retheming. I mean, I'm not opposed to you retheming the Tree of Life Theater. My children, my oldest child, my daughter, is not a Tree of Life. It's Tough to Be a Bug fan. She doesn't like the wasp. She doesn't like the bugs. She likes nothing about it. So she's happy to see it go. But I feel like this was kind of a stretch. This is my spot where I think it was a stretch.
So here's my assumption. I think the Zootopia land is earmarked for a park at some point, and this is just a temporary bridge to have the Zootopia presence. So whether or not we get It's Tough to Be a Bug reverted back, or you have Zootopia stay, I think they wanted Zootopia in the parks as soon as possible. And I think there might be some sort of time frame that Disney has to wait between that a deal was made that the Hong Kong Disneyland version is going to be financed, but you can't open it in another park for X amount of years.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. It makes sense. I think that's going to be. I didn't realize how popular Zootopia is with generations younger than me. I like the movie. Again, I'm not Disney's core audience anymore when it comes to movies,
Sure.
which feels really sad to me. But this white beard tells me that I'm not. But like the kids that I teach, they still love Zootopia.
And you've got a sequel coming out.
Yeah, they love Zootopia and they love Big Hero 6, which again, great movie. I like Big Hero 6. I'm very surprised that that kind of hasn't really found a spot other than that retheming of the area California Adventure.
I personally have an idea for something at Magic Kingdom for Big Hero 6, but that's besides the point.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe we'll talk about that next time if we do some blue sky conversations. Let's talk about the thing that they announced that I'm excited about, but also your take on it worries me beyond belief. So the last thing we're talking about, the last announcement that Disney made is that a Monsters theme land is coming to Hollywood studios, taking place after the film. Monstropolis now, of course, needs human laughter to power the city. Guests are going to be able to not only visit a Monsters themed land, they're even going to be able to ride on the doors that Mike and Sully ride in the iconic scene from the very first movie as a coaster. The Monsters Inc. land is going to be built in Hollywood Studios. It's going to have a suspended coaster, which is one of the first, sorry, at a Disney park. It's going to take people through that door vault. And I'll be honest, ever since I saw the movie, I thought that would be a great ride. And I don't mean the one at California Adventure, which is just okay, which is really just a retheming of Superstar Limo, right?
Exactly.
Not even like they just took and put like the skins on the monster skins on the old animatronics, right? For the most part.
I don't think so, because the animatronics were small celebrities. Like they were not like full size. So
Right.
maybe they were able to repurpose some, but I don't think.
The best part is I'm saying Superstar Limo and people are going, Superstar what? Take a minute, go back and YouTube that if you want to see some weird stuff. But anyway, that's beside the point. All right, so I love the idea of the Monsters universe coming to a theme park. I don't mind it coming to Hollywood Studios. The artwork looks amazing. The question that everybody is talking about is where are they going to put it? Now, before Andrew shares his take, because I don't really even want to hear his take, I think that this goes into the animation courtyard area where the original Star Wars stuff was, where now there are other things happening there. You can meet Chewbacca, meet Darth Vader, things like that. I think it goes right there. The artwork kind of makes it fit right there. I also think that if you put it right there, it allows you to go around and you can retheme, if you wanted to, Rock and Roller Coaster. You could change the track if you wanted to, or you could put a brand new roller coaster in right there as well. I think, though, however, that I am in the minority on that. And Andrew, tell people what the internet is, where the internet is saying that this is going to go.
I will say I think there are a lot more places in Hollywood Studios that a new land can go than any of the other three parks. I think you have cases to be made for a lot of demolition, and that includes the old animation building, Indiana Jones. You're going to have 2 Indiana Jones attractions. I don't feel like the Dial of Destiny was really a good showing to make it a case for 2 Indiana Jones attractions across the Disney World. Where Theater of the Star, no, not Theater of the Stars. I'm blanking where Beauty and the Beast Live is.
Right next to that.
Well, no, I'm talking about that theater. I mean
right.
That show's been playing since practically opening day. It wasn't an opening day attraction, but you have a huge piece of land there. And I could see too, if they really wanted to put it in where Rock and Roller Coaster is, use the building, rip out the track, rip out G-Force Records, and move your scare floor to Lightning McQueen.
Yeah.
Take over that building, take those 2 attractions out and build monsters there. However, that's 2 attractions that are going away, whereas the internet feels like Muppets Courtyard makes the most sense.
I think the internet is totally wrong. And when has the internet ever made sense? Tell me how that area is big enough to support this.
Well, let me start off with what I think is the most important aspect for a Monstropolis. I feel like this land needs to be cut off, just like Galaxy's Edge is, and just like Toy Story Land is, where you feel immersed. You are not seeing the land from afar, and you are not seeing other things while you're in the land. I think Disney needs to come up with a creative way for guests to walk in and out of either a giant door or multi-sets of doors, because the whole movie, both movies, hinge upon that the human world and the monsters world are separate. And if you are just standing in the middle, seeing the Chinese theater, and then right over to your right is Monstropolis, then that defeats a big part of the core of the movie.
Yeah, I think that means Muppet's a terrible spot for this. Terrible, terrible spot. This is one of those folks. This is one of those things that if they just said Muppets is going away, I may get out the lock and chain and go hook myself to the key under the mat.
So I have some hope for you.
Thank you.
So let me answer. You asked a question and I didn't answer it. I think there is space if they go into the cast member parking lot. If they can lose some parking, the show building for the coaster can go into the parking lot and demolish the Muppet store, Mama Melrose, keep the theater, keep Pizza Rizzo, and retheme those buildings. What I heard, I think this was from Mickey Views, Braden, or maybe it was DSNY Newscast, but one of them said that it is heavily rumored that they would take the laugh floor from Tomorrowland and move it into the Muppets theater. So you already have a theater built for it and re-theme it that way. And that way you now have 2 attractions in the land. So the good news, in my opinion, is if they're willing to move a show like that, maybe update it along the way, but they're moving a show essentially, why couldn't they move Muppets less themed, but move Muppets into the Mickey Short Theater? Because that show is not being not filled every show.
Look, people who know me know that I have a probably an unhealthy attraction with the Muppets. There is something about that's my childhood. If I need a nice, calm, relaxing day, I'll just put on an episode of the Muppets. Or the Muppets are vastly underutilized by the Disney company. I just don't think that, not to get into this long discussion, but I just don't think that they know what to do with the Muppets. Like Walt probably would have known. Had Jim had a chance to be around longer, I think the partnership would have gotten better sooner. And I also think that the Muppets would have a way bigger presence and an appropriate presence instead of just MCs at every event that we go to. But that's neither here nor there. I don't ever want to see the Muppets go away. I'm happy to update it. I'm happy to change the show, change the voices. I get it. For me, that and Carousel of Progress, I'm pulling out my chains and my locks and putting myself to the front door.
That is Muppet Vision 3D is the last project that Jim Henson worked on.
Yeah.
That is the last, from everything that I've heard. Now, whether or not he did an interview or whatever, it is the last filmed thing where that Kermit is Jim Henson.
Right.
So it is important.
Remind our guests, I'm blanking on this. What is the current Disney Plus film that's out about Jim Henson? Idea Man?
Yes.
If you're a Jim Henson fan at all, go watch that movie. It is fantastic. I've read the biography. I got way too much Muppets on my mind. The last video was wearing my Muppet Studio shirt that Andrew got me. It's a fantastic film if you're a Muppets fan. But we could go on and on about Muppets, and then no one would continue watching this. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I mean, I agree with you that I love the Muppets. I don't want to see them go. I would say that maybe they can put Muppet Vision. It wouldn't be in 3D, but put it on Disney Plus. Film it with film the animatronics, or film the Muppeteers reimagining the animatronics, and take the archival film, obviously make it not 3D, and splice it together, put on Disney Plus. Now, I don't know what kind of contracts would need to be written up for that. So right. I think you're more likely to see it move, just not your expansive queue. So I would hope that.
I think we're going to see Muppets right where they are. Nothing's going to leave. We're going to be just fine.
I'll throw this out there, Jeremy. If you put you put monsters in Animation Courtyard, it could jeopardize one man's dream.
Part of me is okay with that.
Okay.
It really
Because you would have your whole Pixar. That would be your Pixar area, and then this one little thing of Walt right there.
I love it. I love One Man's Dream, but I feel like I've seen it. But then again, I've seen Muppets too. So it's just like I said. I didn't say I was right. I don't want to be right. I just want to like the Muppets. Last thing I want to talk to you about this today is really more. I just want to get your opinion on the Disney Cruise Line announcement. Disney is going to expand their fleet again with 4 more ships. We're not talking about the ones they've announced. We're talking 4 more ships. That becomes 13 vessels in the fleet. There's no names yet. There's no designs. There's not even itineraries yet. It's all in development. But as someone who books Disney cruises, as someone who prices Disney cruises, is Disney flooding the market, you think, too much, too soon?
I think it depends where they concentrate the ships. You know, if they're going all around the world, that's I guess 13. I'm not a big cruising person, so you know, I the last time I've been on a cruise, and the only time I've been on a cruise was when I was 16 on the Disney. I don't even remember if it was the Magic or the Wonder. But
it was only one of those 2 back then.
Exactly. So now 13, I think they do risk a little bit of oversaturation, but you know, hopefully that doesn't cause a decrease in quality in order to cut prices.
Right. I'll tell you, as someone who's done the Dream and the Wish, and going to go on the Magic next year, family vacation, everybody's invited, June 4th through the 8th. I will say that even with as many ships as we have right now, everyone still talks about how well maintained the Disney ships are compared to other cruise lines, not casting dispersions on those cruise lines. But the fact that even the Magic regularly gets refreshed, the Wonder regularly gets refreshed, new shows, new things. You know, the Magic that we're going to go on next year has a Rapunzel restaurant. There's a Rapunzel Broadway style show. They mentioned that the Disney Destiny, one of the new cruise ships, is going to get a Disney's Hercules Broadway style show, which
that
was
was surprising to me. Hercules was the show when I was at when I went at 16. That was their big show. So
that movie has stood the test of time, which surprises me, because then there are movies that I really like that I don't know that people like as much. Like for me, I can watch Emperor's New Groove anytime and giggle all the way through it. It doesn't matter. You know, David Spade and Patrick Warburton, Eartha Kitt. It's one joke. I was talking to a buddy of mine today about that movie. But then, like, if you ask Abby and Austin, my kids, about Hercules, they're just like, that's the best movie ever. It's unbelievable. And like the music, they will sing that "I Will Go the Distance" all the time. Also on the Disney Treasure, we're getting the tale of Moana, as that ship starts setting sail this year. The Disney Treasure is getting ready to head out this year. So 2 new shows, really cool stuff. Let me ask you this about Moana, since they announced Moana, the second movie Moana, correct?
Yes.
There's also a live action Moana?
Correct.
And they're now doing a show.
Correct.
Are we getting an oversaturation of Moana? Because I feel like it's everywhere.
I love Moana. You know, this is the way the Disney company tends to work, I would say. You know, they do pull out some surprises, like bringing Hercules back. That's not a property that brings them a lot of money and merchandise. But Moana was the #1 watched movie, I think, over all streaming platforms last year. It just has not stopped performing well on Disney Plus. So Disney sees that, and they're putting Moana in at DVC. The announcement today of the Moana splash pad. And there is a rumor that's hanging around that there is going to be a full-fledged Moana attraction going to Adventureland at some point. because Moana was originally scheduled for Animal Kingdom, and they pulled her back. That was part of the Blue Sky, was Moana and Animal Kingdom, and they revised it to be the Tropical Americas. So there's still plans for Moana hanging out there. We're going to see more of her.
Her and Anna and Elsa aren't going away anytime soon. I guess they're going to be around for a while. Well, let me ask you one last question as we end our time together tonight. And folks, thank you so much for watching, and hope you've enjoyed our discussion of all things Disney. Andrew, what is the one thing? All the announcements, probably over 25 announcements that Disney made in the parks panel only. What is the one thing that you are the most excited about? And what is the one thing that you're least excited about of all these announcements? So give me the least first. What's the thing where you're like, nah, it's okay, I'm glad it's coming? And then what's the thing where you're like, I'm ready for it to happen tomorrow?
Okay, I have good answers here. Cars Land for me, or not Cars Land, the Frontierland expansion with Cars. My biggest concern is that I'm just not a huge Cars fan. I can take them or leave them.
You're a planes fire and rescue guy.
Exactly. Every night I'm watching Planes Fire and Rescue.
Yeah.
But Radiator Springs is great in California Adventure. Radiator Springs Racers is fun. But I do have concerns about the overall theming that you're going to have, coming out of the Hall of Presidents and then seeing, animated cars whizzing by. From the concept art, that does seem like a possibility.
And with the removal of the Rivers of America, there's no more buffer.
Right. That's why I hope that they keep a little bit of the Rivers of America, keep that bend in the river, and put the paddle wheel right there to block the view of cars from when you're in Liberty Square.
Right. Cars makes a great transition to Big Thunder, in my opinion. But it doesn't. But it's too vast and stark of a transition, like you're saying. I agree.
I think you'll see it. Of course, when you're going down the Tiana's Bayou Adventure, you are seeing all sorts of different theming around the park. You're seeing the tops of roofs that typically you wouldn't see, and it's not themed. But when you're standing in 1920s New Orleans, you're going to potentially be seeing some dancing cars. Right. Because I'm assuming they're going to do a hoedown with Mater's hoedown, and that's the Luigi's rocking roadster racers.
Yeah. So that's the thing that you're most concerned or least excited about. What's the thing where you were like, yes, let's do this?
I think I'll say this. A lot of the things that were announced, I had heard rumors about online. So the only things that I was surprised by were Monsters and the nighttime parade coming to Magic Kingdom. So to me, like, Monsters was like, whoa, but I'm not that excited about it. I think Walt and the nighttime parade are let's get that right now. I'll fly out to Disneyland tomorrow.
And that the nighttime show is closer than you think it is. It's summer 2025. So sure. We're less than a year away from a new nighttime show at Magic Kingdom, and I'm excited to see, with them now having projections and things like that during the fireworks. I'm interested to see if they use those for the actual parade, because that's really cool too.
Absolutely.
Well, Andrew, thank you so much for being a part of this evening, continuing to talk about the Disney Parks panel at D23. Folks, before Andrew goes and before I go, I want to make sure I invite you to join us this June 2025 as the Disney Framley, the Talking Umbrella Framley vacation hits the cruise lines again. We're going on the Disney Magic. We're going to go June 4th through the 8th. I'm going to try and convince Andrew and his new fiance, Amy, to join me on the cruise ship. But we want you to go too. If you would like a no obligation quote on a family vacation with us, with me, my family, and some of our closest family and friends, send us an email to talkingumbrellatravel@gmail.com. Or maybe you want to go to Disney World, or maybe you want to go to Disneyland or Universal to see Epic Universe, which I think is going to be amazing, by the way. And I'm not a Universal fan, but I think it's going to be amazing. Andrew, you think it's going to be amazing?
Everything I'm seeing it's amazing.
At some point, we have to talk about, is Disney going with a fifth park? But that's going to be for another conversation for another day. Anyway, if you want to go anywhere in the world, including Disney World, we are your folks. So send us an email at talkingumbrellatravel@gmail.com, on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, well, X, on Instagram, all those things. Andrew, again, thank you so much for being a part of this tonight. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeremy. It was fun.
Awesome. Guys, thanks again. And everybody, as always, have a magical day.